Customer service is the hallmark of any successful business. If you want your patrons to keep coming back, you must be able to answer their questions and resolve their complaints. This is true for the rest of us, but many big businesses must be exempt. I am riding this high horse today because of my recent interaction with an enormous cable company whose name shall remain Comcast. I should be grateful as they have given me plenty to blog about over the years. But today, I'm not feeling the least bit kind towards them. My last bill would indicate the feeling is mutual. My complaints are many, but I'll stick to the most annoying. Well, that would take too long too, so I'll just give you 2 examples. I was a lawyer until my retirement several years ago. I had a business package with Comcast so that my secretary and I could have our own telephone lines and high-speed internet. We also needed a fax machine, a scanner, and a printer. When I retired, I didn't need quite so much technical stuff, so I called Comcast and asked them to drop the business line and downgrade my service to residential status. Happily enough, the first person I talked to made a note of my request. This was in September. My service wasn't turned off. I called back. I was shunted from department to department and from employee to employee every time I called. I couldn't get any of them to do anything to help. I kept telling them why the bill was too much and finally told them I wouldn't pay a thing until they listened to my request and took care of it. I was informed that I would damage my credit if I didn't pay them for the services I no longer needed. I described their parentage in less than complimentary terms, but only in my fertile imagination. Aloud, I asked to speak to the CEO of Comcast. Of course, he took my call and apologized profusely for his employees' incompetence regarding my account. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. All right, it's a downright lie, but you knew that, right? I finally talked to the scarecrow. I didn't meet the guy, but since he solved my problem, I'm pretty sure the great wizard of us all had given him a brain. He looked at my record, and to my astonishment and pleasure, informed me that,
According to our records, you asked to be downgraded to residential service in September last year. Is that right?
yes.
Oh my, it looks like we owe you a big fat refund.
This conversation took place in February. Finally, in May, I received the promised refund, and now, as Paul Harvey used to say, stay tuned for the rest of the story. My Comcast services were working smoothly. I was able to get on the internet easily. My phone worked, and I had speed dial. The only thing wrong was that I was being charged for Netflix, which I had never ordered and didn't want. Since I prefer not to pay for stuff I don't want, I gave our good buddies at the Big C a call. When I am asked, I tell people that my mother never neglected or abused me. I should say, to the best of my knowledge. My seeming inability to leave well enough alone tells me that she must have dropped me on my head several times or I just bounced. Hope springs eternal in the optimistic breast. Me? I'm being charged for Netflix. I do not use it, and I didn't order it.
Okay, we'll take it off. Is there anything else?
Me. I just saw an ad for increased internet speed. How much more would it cost me to upgrade?
Not a thing. I will take care of it right away.
The next day, I found that all the services I took for granted evaporated overnight. I took a deep breath and called the Big C to patiently explain my problem. Me. 3 things. I don't get Game Show Network anymore. My speed dial doesn't work, and I can't use 69 to retrieve my last call.
That is because you have a different plan.
Me. I didn't ask for a different plan. I just don't want to pay for Netflix because I didn't order it, I never use it, and I really don't like being charged for it.
I'll help you, but I'll need to put you on hold for a minute.
Suddenly, I realized that there was nothing but dead air on the other end of the phone. Yes, I had been disconnected. I called again. This time, the tech admitted that it was beyond his ken to solve my problem. However, if I would let him put me on hold, he would find someone who could help. Another disconnect. The third time I called, I was shunted to Customer Solutions. I was informed that Game Show Network was no longer available, but the calling features could be re-established if I wanted my Comcast bill to be in the stratosphere. I'd like to say money is no object, but my other creditors, heat, lights, wouldn't see the humor in my dividing Comcast's leftovers among them. Since one of those creditors provides me with electricity, you would think the Big C would have some interest in letting me pay that bill since I need electricity to use its services. You may as well rinse and repeat these 3 interactions. If I summarized all 20 calls, you would be as bored and frustrated as I am with the process, so I'll do the kind thing and spare us both. I called Comcast again the next day. I was, as usual, shunted from tech to tech. I ended up in the customer solutions department again. There, some less than charming gentleman informed me that Comcast no longer offers speed dial, call return, or any other telephone service beyond the ability to make phone calls. I pointed out that the message I got when I tried to access the services that at least 5 people said would be available was not, "This service is no longer available," but rather, "This service has not been activated. Call 611 if you need further assistance."
Well, I'm not responsible for the messages you're getting.
Me. I didn't say you were, but there were at least 50 people who could have told me that, and they did not. It would have saved me a lot of trouble if someone had bothered to inform me. Yesterday, I found a survey from the Big C in my email. Among the questions that were asked was one with an actual edit box. I wrote about my whole experience with the Big C. I figured I had just let off a little steam and wasted more of my time. I was right, but someone did call me back.
We got your survey, and I take it you're unhappy with Comcast services?
No, it couldn't have been me. I like being on hold and being passed from tech to tech and misinformed. It gives me something to do with my empty little life.
Oh, Lucille, how can we give you a headache today?
Well, I am getting a little paranoid for one thing. How did you know it was me?
We have our ways.
Well, I have a super soaker and 3 vicious cats, so watch your step or you might get hissed at. The real conversation appears above where it says rinse and repeat. I just thought I would liven things up a bit. The upshot of the conversation was that I wanted my landline number to be transferred to my new cell phone. As important as I am, even a legend in her own mind does not need 2 phone numbers. I can only talk on 1 phone at a time.
It will be done within 24 hours, probably a lot sooner.
This morning nothing had changed. Well, that isn't quite true. What changed was that my landline was still active, but my cell phone no longer works. Siri keeps telling me that I have to be connected to the internet to work. So I'm taking my phone to the notorious city 30 miles from here to see if there is something wrong with it. I'm beginning to think I just should have cut my losses and kept Netflix. Next week, I'll do the Big C a favor and give it some pointers about customer service. It will ignore me, but the steam is building again and I need a release.